Well, hello and welcome to Mofo RC. It is Monday. I'm Mofo and we are live. Let's see. Today we have new mount to talk about, which you'll be able to see a little better once I unpackage the whole thing. We also have a brand new motor to talk about and show off a little bit as well. And we are going to go ahead and install them on this brass Mofo RC transmission. And then I will do a little demonstration of one that I've already previously installed, so we don't have to take much extra time doing that. This is just basically a stock, well, it used to be a stock Jeep. Now it has, as you can see there, a brass servo beast servo. It also is sporting the brass best servo mount ever. And a set of the now back in stock, but not on the website yet, brass axle housings. As well as a set of brass knuckles from Mofo RC as well, and some sideboards, just so I can mount the PureTech on there a little easier without having to cram it somewhere else. Other than that, it is still stock body. Oh, you know what? We got links on there too. We got brass high clearance links as well. See, Sam? Hi. Brass high clearance links as well. You probably can't see in there. They are coated black, very beautiful. Heavy. This thing weighs a freaking ton. I don't know if you can hear that thud, but it is super heavy, and this little motor can definitely handle all of the heavy you put at it. So let me first off say thank you to Randy, who, while I was not here a few minutes ago, walked by and dropped off a nice Randy drink for me. Cheers, Randy, and thank you for that, sir. These are very refreshing, by the way. We also have some comments. Let's see what we have. We have Decker with a little smiley face. Osborne RC says, "What's good, y'all?" Decker rebuilds, working on some rebuilds. FMS Blazer. Super stoked for a black one. Let's see. Pre-order my FMS K5. People chit-chatting in the comments, waiting for me to show up. Body clips, yada yada yada. Blew through it, impatient. You guys can read those. I'm going to kind of scroll through them here. Shane Hall, Sup Mofos. Edge of Texas RC on watching as well. Okie doke. Strat Magic, hey all. Got crazy with the paint can, Decker says. Only want to hear 4 words. Aluminum servos have arrived. Not yet. They're supposed to ship to me in 5 days, supposedly. So if all goes well, the aluminum servos, including the new aluminum servo beast and the new aluminum black label servo, should both be shipping to me in about 5 days. What's up, Nick? Billy the Kid RCs. Farm Boy RC, what's up? Darwin Bonk, hi all. Gardner TV, what up, everyone? Video's up if you want to check it out. Farm Boy RC, need one of those servos also. Hello from Langley, Washington. What's up, Mofos? Harry Hetzer and Outpost RC. Ed McBride, what is going on, Nick? What's up, y'all? Billy the Kid RC. Dinky RC found it. Hello, Dinky RC. We might even talk a little bit about Dinky today. Peter Griffin, thumbs up. Hello, Nick. Hope all is well. Hello, Sir Mofo R. Long. Pastor Williams, howdy, howdy. Is he going to crawl on the course? Probably not tonight. We're still not quite unveiling the course, but as you can see, there is a nice little portion of it you can see behind me. Looks pretty cool, I think, so far. Half ahead, Nick. Pastor Williams. Yes, half ahead today. Trying to get the good shot of this regional area. So 2 to 4 weeks, double a day. Ordered your big block motor for the Smasher yesterday. Thank you, Max Paul Levin. Badass G. Hey, everybody. Wait, there are 2 aluminum servos coming. Thought there was only 1. Explain, please, Shane Hall. There is a servo beast coming, which is basically this guy right here, the brass servo beast servo. But it will be made in an aluminum case. So you will have your option of the brass case servo beast or the aluminum case servo beast. There is also a slightly budgetized version of the servo coming, not in brass, but in aluminum, called the Black Label servo. This is the Black Label V2 we're talking about, not the original Black Label. It shares nothing with the original Black Label servo. The Black Label servo originally was really good for what it was, but it wasn't quite up to par with some of the newer servos coming out. So the new Black Label will share almost all the same stuff the Servo Beast does, minus it will be a little bit less powerful and probably a little bit slower. And instead of a brushless motor, it will have a coreless motor inside the new Black Label Servo V2. By the way, 36 people watching, only 17 thumbs up. Let's see some more thumbs. Okie doke. What else we got over here? Those new axles getting closer to being on the site. Not quite yet. I will put up the brass axle housings for anybody who wants a set of the brass axle housings. Probably tomorrow. They are back in stock. Brass axle housings. These ones are finally perfected enough to my liking that they will not be discounted. So they will be regular price again for the first time in, I don't even know, a few months. They come with a whole pack of screws. The only problem with them last time is they forgot to add a few screws that I told them to add to the package. And so you were left with having to use a couple of your own screws when assembling the axles. So I discounted them. This time around, they come with like a complete, damn near a complete SCX24 screw package with the axles, just to make sure nothing was forgotten. The only thing you might choose to use, which I did not have to, and you probably won't have to either, but the round head screws that come with your stock rear axle, if you use a certain hex, you may find the round head screw will have a little bit better clearance than the hex cap screw, or whatever the hell these are called, that come with the new axles. They're still extremely heavy, still extremely awesome, still have an extremely nice and smooth coating on the bottom of them that is hard, but very smooth. So you can slide over rocks very easily, unlike a raw brass or aluminum or a regular anodized aluminum or something like that. As I said, those should be on the site probably tomorrow. I'm going to try and get around to that tomorrow. These little sideboards are on the site currently. If anybody has not noticed those are on the site, as well as this awesome brass servo there. Trying to look at my computer and point where my finger is going. Doesn't work very well. We are out of Nano Beast. This little guy here. The original Nano Beast. This is actually like a V2 or 3 Nano Beast or something like that. We have a couple, but we're probably not going to put them back on the site currently. In lieu of the Nano Beast, we will have the Nano BAM. This is a shrunken down BAM motor. If you've ever been familiar with my BAM motor I currently have, I have that in a 1900 and a 4100 kV version. It will fit on several different models of trucks. This one will be taking the place currently, at least for a little while, if not forever, of the Nano Beast. Now, it is a little bit bigger than the Nano Beast. As you can see, it is not any bigger in diameter, but it is a little bit longer, and it has a little bit more power, and it is a little bit smoother, and you should expect an even better low-speed crawl and an even better top end out of it. You're welcome. Also, it has an encapsulated front end where the wires go, So should be hopefully a little stronger where these tiny little wires go into the motor as well. Hopefully. Time will tell. I have bent the snot out of the wires on this one and have not broken them. So hopefully we are good to go on that end. But I need to go ahead and get down right to the gritty brass, whatever the hell you call it, of putting this together, because this is supposed to be an instructional video first and foremost of putting the new Nano Mount here on a transmission. Now pretend this is a stock transmission, even though it is not. This is a Mofo RC brass transmission. If this was your stock transmission, you would remove it from the car, obviously, so you could hold it in your hand like this. Grab your handy dandy Mofo RC toolkit, which works amazing. And then you would go ahead and proceed to take it all apart like I'm doing right now. This one currently has a mod 5 gear on it, so I'm going to set that aside and put on a mod 3 when I put it back together, because the Nano Mount is designed for a mod 3 pitch. It is not designed for a mod 5 pitch and will not work with a mod 5 pitch, at least not in any current form that I know of. Maybe in the future that will change. But currently it does not. Right now, all I'm doing is taking screws out of the, what you might be looking at. It would maybe be a stock SCX24 transmission. Or it might be, I don't know, Enjora's transmission or Furatech's transmission or a Mofo RC brass transmission or a Trial transmission or any other brand of insert your brand here's transmission. So long as it is based on a stock SCX24 transmission, like this one is, the brand new Nano Mount should work just fine, as well as any other brushless mount you might want to use. But this video is about the Nano Mount. So I'm just going to move all these screws out of the way. I'm going to put this mod 3 gear right here. I'm going to move this Mofo RC adjustable motor mount out of the way. That comes with my Mofo RC transmissions. By the way, the Mofo RC transmission comes with a mod 3 and a mod 5 gear. You probably can't see the difference here. Maybe if I get close enough and the camera zooms, but it probably won't. One gear has bigger lugs on it. It has mod 5 lugs. This gear here has mod 3 lugs. This gear here has mod 5 lugs. Totally different gear pitch. The Nano Mount, as I said before, is designed for mod 3. This little white gear that comes in this little baggie here, this is the Nano Mount transfer gear. That gear is designed to transfer power from your nano-sized motor, which, gosh, let's be real. There's more than just my nano-sized motors out there. Other people call them other things. Some call them micros. Some just call them by random numbered names. Mine are called nano because they're really small. So this mount will work with, I believe it would work with the Micro Komodo. It does work with the Nano Beast. This one. If you have a previous Nano Beast with a mod 3 11-tooth gear on it, it will work with that. If you buy the new Nano BAM, which is what this is, it will work with this. Pretty much any nano-sized motor with a 9mm bolt spacing. Alexa, volume 3. A nano-sized bolt spacing, which is 9mm in my opinion. That's what most all these nano motors should or do come with already. The only best way I could tell you to figure out if you have a 9mm bolt spacing is either to buy a digital or a dial caliper, or buy one of these nifty little ruler things here and measure from one hole on one side of the motor to the other hole on the other side of the motor, from center to center. When you measure from center to center, you should end up with 9mm in order to be able to use the Nano Mount. And the motor itself is approximately 15 to 16 millimeters in diameter. I can't remember off the top of my head, and this isn't very accurate. I guess there's a bunch of people talking over here. I'm not going to read all these comments just yet. Hopefully you guys all stick around, and at the once we get this put together stage of the video, we will talk more. And like I said earlier, we saw Dinky RC pop up on there. We got a little bit to talk about Dinky. But for now, back to the task at hand. In this package, you have that little white gear, the transfer gear. That is not a pinion gear. That is a transfer gear. You have a baggie full of black screws of a lot of different assorted sizes. For this task, you will need a 1.5mm driver, a 4.0 box driver to remove your spur gear nut, and either a 0.05, such as this one, or a 1.3mm driver for the tiny screws that hold the mount to the transmission. So we got our little baggie of screws dumped out on the table here, and we have our little transfer gear here. Next, we have a flat plate that says Mofo RC on it. It is flat, made of aluminum, anodized black. And we have a not flat plate that is not flat, but yet has space inside it for things to go. And on the back of it says Mofo RC. We are going to take this plate, the one that is not flat, that has the big hole in the front of it you can put your finger in. We're going to set that right here. Then we're going to find either A, the screws that you pulled out of the transmission, or B, you can dig through this little pile of screws that came in the baggie and grab the 4 of them that are M 1.4 by 8mm screws. And you're just going to stuff them in the hole. You are not going to tighten them all just yet. Just get them in there, get a couple threads in them, and we'll tighten them in just a second. But first, we're just going to put them in their home, where they want to be, where they belong. Get all 4 of those little guys in there. Now, what you may experience when using this mount or any other mount and using a screw with a hex cap, I believe it's called, head, the taller head screw versus the stock SCX24 screw, which is a round head screw. If these 2 bottom screws hit something on your skid plate or on your links, take these out and use these stock round head screws. But if they don't, you don't have to. Next, we're just going to kind of lightly snug these. Now, if you're setting this up permanently and you're never going to take it apart again, or you don't want to worry about it coming loose, you could use a little bit of Loctite on these screws when installing them. All 4 of the screws are installed. That's, I don't know, kind of what it looks like. You probably can't see it. Hopefully you can kind of tell what I'm doing, though, from this video. This is kind of far away and not very accurately, I don't know, there. Okay. Now we have the main mounting base plate on the transmission. Next, we're going to lubricate. Okay, lubrication done. Now you will find your Mod 3 spur gear and set it to the side because we're not ready for that yet. You're going to take your nano-sized motor. Bear with me. This is only the third time I've ever put one of these together. These are very much like my old standard Nano Beast mount, but they're completely redesigned. So it's a little bit different. There's now 4 holes for mounting the motor. The motor is secured by 4 screws now. So that motor is not gosh darn going anywhere. You're going to find your handy dandy 1.5 driver, and you're going to dig through this little pile of screws you got. And you are going to find one of the really short screws. Really short, fat screw. It is an M2 by probably 3, I think. And you're going to take your little nano-sized motor, and you're going to kind of decide where you want these wires to go. There's 4 positions. There's probably only 2 or 3 ways you can install this motor where the wires are going to stick out. There's one where it's pointing straight up in the air. There's one where it's pointing off to the side. And there's one where it is pointing kind of down towards the bottom of the transmission, like that. Now, I actually installed my last one pointing down towards the bottom of the transmission. If you do this, be very careful, because you definitely can bust your wires on the inside of this part here where they're all epoxied in to the case and they are soldered or connected to the internal windings. You must be very careful when bending them if you're going to install them on the bottom like I did here, where you don't see any wires sticking out anywhere. They don't hit the battery tray. They don't stick out the side. There's no wires showing up there. Mine are running under the motor on the bottom of the skid plate. So if you're going to install it there, be very careful. And I will go ahead and install mine there just for the sake of, I don't know, installing it there. What you're going to do, you're going to look directly at your thingy here. You got it put together. You're looking directly at it. The rightwardmost screw, when you're looking at the front of this plate, which is going to be kind of in this direction if you're looking at it backwards, or if this was you looking at it, it's going to be over here closest to where your spur gear is going to go. You're going to need to install that screw. So most likely you would want to put a tiny little bit of Loctite on here. Slide the screw in the hole. Find the threaded hole behind this hole and install it just ever so awesomely, like I'm doing right now. There we go. You don't want to tighten that all the way just yet. What you're going to do, you're going to take a gander at it, and you're going to see there is 3 other holes that you guys probably can't see on camera there, unless I was like to totally block everything here. And even that doesn't work. You just see a bunch of fat fingers. I would need like a whole board to do it. But there is 3 other holes that are not being used yet. And you can look through those holes, and you can move your motor when your first screw is not tightened all the way. And you can see when your screw holes are fairly well lined up. And when you have all the other 3 fairly well lined up, you can kind of snug that screw down. Remember, these are tiny little parts we're working with. Don't crank anything down with intention. Just lightly snug. Hug the screw, if you will. Now that we have that one screw installed, we can take the Mod 3 spur gear, stick it onto the shaft of your transmission, and you can put your nard back on wherever it went. There it is. Take your teeny little 4mm nut, put it in the tool of your choice. I choose Mofo RC. And you can just, lightly snug that up. It's a nylock nut. It shouldn't go anywhere. Now you have your spur gear and your motor installed, and you will notice the motor doesn't touch the spur gear. There is no way to contact that unless you used a massive gear. on this motor, and the gear would be so big you would have no way of screwing the motor to the plate. So what we need to do next? Next, we need to find our outer plate. That is the flat plate we were talking about earlier. You get your little flat plate here, and you can see when you set it on there, when it's on there correctly, Mofo RC reads from the front and from the back, but you probably can't see that on the camera. But it does read from the front and the back, and there's a relief hole for your little nard that you could put your tool on to tighten up your spur gear if you suddenly had the need to tighten up your spur gear for some reason. There's a little relief hole cut out there. There is 2 holes towards the bottom of the mount. There is 3 holes to the outside passenger side of what would be the truck if you're running this in the standard location. And there is a big pile of screws you still have left over here. There is some extra screws, by the way. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that little plastic gear that came with the kit, and we're going to just grab whatever the longest screw that is included with your kit. And there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 of these screws. They're all the same size. You're going to stick that through the hole directly above the 2 bottom holes when looking at it this way. So there's 2 bottom holes here and here. And the next hole up, you're going to slide that little screw through. You're going to flip it upside down with your finger on the screw so it doesn't fall out. And you're going to just drop that little gear right on top of that screw. Once you drop that little gear right on top of that screw, you can flip this inside here like so. That screw, as long as all the other holes are lined up, will naturally find the location it wants to go to most. And don't tighten it, but you can go ahead and install it. Now, if I was a betting man, I would say it might be a smart idea to go ahead and on this screw that I just told you to go ahead and install, before you do that, put some Loctite on it. Do that with every single one of these screws. Don't use a super harsh Loctite. Don't go with red probably, or orange, purple or green or blue or yellow or orange or whatever. Whatever the really strong ones are, don't use the really strong ones. Just go with like a blue. I think blue is the medium thread locker. Orange is like super high strength. Red is high strength. I don't even remember what green is. And I know there's a purple too somewhere in there. But just probably use a blue in case you ever have to or want to take this apart again. You want to make it somewhat easy to take back apart. Now, don't do what I'm doing right now. Do what I'm saying right now. Put a little bit of Loctite on that screw, but you know what? When you do it, I'm going to take it apart and show you one more time. Pretend like I never installed that yet. All right, so we have the mount with the gear, with the screw. What you're going to do, just take a little dab of blue Loctite, just put it right on the end of that screw, and then line it back up and stick that back in there and kind of snug it up. The other option you could have done, if you're watching this now and you haven't already installed everything like I have, the other thing you could have done, take this motor before you install it, and there's 4 holes in it. Just put a little dibby dab of Loctite in each one of those holes on the motor. Let me show you the other motor wherever they went. There it is. There's 4 mounting holes on these motors. Just go ahead and put a little dibby dab of Loctite on all 4 of these holes before you even start doing this. That's probably the smartest way to do it. Otherwise, you can do them one at a time. Remember, don't snug that up just yet. Leave it in there. Mount still moves around like so. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the other 2 long screws, and there's actually 3 long screws. We do have some spares included because I don't know. Sometimes they forget to be packed with the certain amount of screws that are needed, or sometimes people lose the screws that come with it and they end up one short. So we add an extra one. What a great idea, right? So now all 3 of these outer screws are installed. I'm going to take 2 of the 3 included smaller big screws. These are M2 by probably 7, I would guess. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of stick those in these holes here. And you can do like we were talking about earlier. You can put a little bit of Loctite on this screw here before you stick them in that slot. Stick them in there and just kind of turn them on in like so. And now that we have all the screws installed, you can go ahead and snug these a little. Just give it a little hug. Especially these ones that are not braced by anything. You don't want to over tighten these. Now, the nice thing about this aluminum mount is it's very hard to over tighten these because it's all aluminum now. These used to be 3D printed, and you could over tighten them quite easily. And you could just pull that middle screw in, and next thing you know, why does my motor bind? Why do I jitter at low speeds? Why this? Why that? Well, by going to aluminum, we've made it much harder to over tighten these. Trying to take out all the user error. Now we have a mount. Looks kind of like that. Aluminum, shiny, beautiful. With a Nano BAM on this particular mount and a brass transmission. Looks gorgeous. Spins freely and smoothly. When we spin that motor, you probably can't see it, but this output shaft here and this spur gear here are all spinning as I spin the motor. Maybe you can hear it. And by the way, there's no lube in this transmission. Normally, if you're running an all steel gear transmission such as this one, you probably want to put a little lube in it on the inside gears of the transmission. But you can see I'm spinning the transmission output gear and the motor is spinning. Hopefully you can see that. By the way, Mofo RC transmissions, bulletproof transmissions, strongest transmissions made. Right now, currently, as of this date, and as of the last time I said that, I don't know how many months ago or years ago that was when I said that last, still the strongest transmissions and transmission gears made. There is an actual reason for the price of these things. I know you can go to Amazon and buy a $20, $25, $30 transmission. When you buy the Mofo RC transmission, not only are you supporting a tiny business, but you're getting the best goddamn part ever made thus far. So we have this all put together and it looks freaking beautiful. Now, the beauty about this mount, I mean, a lot of you guys are probably watching this just to watch it. The beauty about this mount, let me see if we got a skid plate somewhere over here. We probably don't. But in some weird likelihood, if we did have a skid plate somewhere over yonder on the desk, the beauty, well, anyways, I'll go ahead and tell you the beauty about it anyways, without showing you the skid plate. But the beauty is the direction it faces. When you install this, huzzah! The motor now faces rearward, not forward. So you can keep all your stock junk in the exact stock junky positions they're in and not have to do anything other than just install this mount and this motor. You don't even have to cut that battery tray leg. Now, you know, your experience may differ if you're running like a Bronco. I'm not sure. I haven't tried putting this in a Bronco just yet. But for every other SCX24 other than the Bronco, these just install right in. And the Gladiator, I'm not sure about that one either because I don't remember if I put one in a while. I'll have to try and do it and see what it does. But they install right in. The motor faces rearwards this way, exactly where your stock motor fit. So you take out your stock transmission and motor. This fits rearward exactly where your stock motor and transmission fit. You don't have to move a bunch of stuff around. You don't have to chop things up. You don't have to move your ESC somewhere. You will need a brushless ESC to run a brushless motor. But other than that, you don't have to do much. And it keeps it as low as possible. I mean, I'm going to say that's got to be the lowest center of gravity mount that I know of. I mean, there may be one out there that's lower. Maybe. But as far as I know, that's probably the lowest center of gravity mount. Now, we got some extra screws laying here. We're just going to move this out of the way along with all this other stuff here. Shove that over to there, and I'll go find a remote because apparently I didn't grab one. Ha! Joke's on me. It's laying on the mountain behind me. I'm going to flip that on and we'll plug it in and just see if this is bound to that remote because I have no clue. It is bound to that remote. How lucky is that? Okay, I used to have a body clip somewhere around here and that's gone completely from life. Fell into a dimensional void somewhere. Oh man, it's so stinking dark in here. I do not have the correct proper lighting on this at all. Maybe you could see that. And this has not been tuned at all. This is a stock Furatech ESC. And we are rolling, folks. You can see the little motor kind of spinning down there, moving around. I haven't touched a single setting on this Furatech ESC. We are moving. I can put stuff in front of it and it might just push it out of the way, or maybe it'll crawl over it. I don't know. Let's find out. It seems to be pushing it. Maybe I'll put my hand here too. And it will slowly start to crawl that. And in about 12 minutes, we'll be over the top of it because that's approximately how slow that will go. It's just going to keep going and going and going until you hit the gas. And then it goes. So, and it has all the speeds regulated very well. It has slow, as you just saw, and there's a little bit faster than slow. There's some kind of medium-ish speed, and there's a bunch of binding in the steering. It has all the speeds. It doesn't just have like low and high or low and medium. It does have all of them. I wish I had a body clip so this body wasn't rattling around everywhere. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. That made it worse. So you can, you know, go out, have fun, play with it, and, you know, do whatever you want. Let's just take the stupid body off so it's not rattling around all over the place. If you missed the earlier part of this video, this is also running my black brass axle housings. And it's running a set of my regular brass knuckles and my brass Servo B servo. It's also got a set of Mofo RC's aluminum sideboards on there for mounting of stuff. And it has my black brass high clearance links, which you really can't see that well. Now, there you go. You can kind of see them there. These are the stock black brass Jeep links. They have not been updated. This is also running 4-link via the best servo mount ever made from Mofo RC. And you can hear it's not that loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that on the microphone. It's pretty quiet, and that is because it is running a plastic transfer gear in between the other two gears. It is not metal, so you don't get a lot of chatter in the gears. Uh-oh. Gonna need some technical here. Oh, gonna need some technical. Oh, God. Almost lost it. And like I showed earlier, it will go just as slow as you want it to go. You can sit and just, I don't know, leave the throttle setting right here. Go to the coffee shop, get some coffee or whatever you want to do. When you come back, it will, be here somewhere probably. But it will also go fairly fast. Maybe just about the same as stock. But you can almost pull wheelies with all the torque it has. And that is also with this thing weighing however much that weighs. A lot. I mean, I don't know if you guys can hear that thud. Let me adjust the microphone for you so you can maybe hear it a little better. It weighs a lot. I don't even know what this thing weighs, but it's heavy as heck. And the motor won't get very hot either. Now, there's other settings you can change if your motor does get hot. If your drag brake is set too high, which you really don't even need on these things because they don't move at all. I mean, you can't like push this. You're just going to leave little skid marks on the table. So, I haven't adjusted the steering. You can hear the motor slightly bogging down a little bit with the steering at way full lock. But even that, I mean, the motor can take it. It will get hot if you have a ton of binding. And you're like constantly running full lock steering or something, it can get hot. But, don't be smart. Be smart about it. Adjust your stuff. Set things up so that they don't turn way too far. Let me turn this down a little bit. Okay, so what I'm doing here, you're looking at your steering, full steering lock. I'm going to turn it back now at full steering lock until I see them start to move finally. Okay, now they're moving. I know where my full steering lock is. It's right there. So I'm going to set that back just a smidgen off full steering lock. And now it doesn't bind when you're turning. So if you're wondering about that, and you can, I don't know, sit here and like hold force on it and do burnouts. The whole thing's jumping up and down. It's got all the power you need. I don't know how much we should test this. I could push down on it. Oh, it sounds so horrible. Can you hear that? We're leaving rubber marks here somewhere. The motor is extremely powerful, and still not even warm yet. Not even lukewarm yet. But I mean, you play with it longer, it will probably warm up. So that is to be expected. But there is the Nano BAM. Brand new. Probably going to try and get this on the website tomorrow. Nano BAM motor with the new aluminum Nano Mount. And you shouldn't have any problems with that gear. People were like, oh, transfer gear? That sounds ridiculous. But in reality, and it's running on a screw. You should have put bearings in there. No, it doesn't matter at all. It really doesn't matter. For the engineering needed to put bearings in there for that is nearly impossible. And I don't think anyone's ever worn out one of these plastic gears. Maybe? I don't know. If you have, send me an email and let me know. I know the brass gears back in the day when I used to have the standard Nano mount for the Nano Beast, the brass gears would wear out when running against a steel pinion gear or even a brass pinion gear or a steel spur gear. But the plastic, the nylon, transfer gear seems to remedy pretty much all those problems. You have a steel gear over here on the motor, so that's never going to wear out. I've got a steel gear over here on the spur gear. That's never going to wear out. And I've got a nylon transfer gear. If the transfer gear does wear out, it's like $3 or $4. And it probably won't wear out for a very, very long time. I mean, I've been selling mounts such as this 3D printed for probably 2 years now. And like I said, I can't remember anyone wearing out one of the plastic ones. Maybe they have. If you have, I can't remember it. Send me a message if you have. So that is that. Next on the table, we do also have these, which I haven't put on the website yet, but these are the 4 links in black brass for the AX24. These are not the extended 4 links. I do not have those yet. These are just the 4-link black brass kit for the AX24. So if you want to run 4-link black brass, give yourself that extra high clearance on the bottom and the weight of the brass. I will have those probably on the website tomorrow or the next day as well. Always a good thing. We're running low on these already. Again, best servo mount ever in black brass. Running low on them again. We're out of the aluminum ones currently. But we will get more. Let's see if we can see what we're watching over here. Let's see. Can I do anything over here? Let's find out. Let's just find out a little bit here. These are stock tires, by the way, so don't judge me on stock tires. This is pretty dang steep, and these are stock tires. We may need a little bump here. There we go. Yeah, let's try and come back down this way, see if we can make it. I'm not going to make this turn without 4-wheel steering. This part of the track was not designed for 2-wheel steering. It's just not possible without reversing. Oh, and it's gone. It went for the long dive. We will show the rest of this track very soon. Not yet, not right now. But very soon we will show the rest of what's behind me. You're looking at about 3 feet-ish of, I don't know, 15 feet probably ish of the track, and it is very beautiful. One of the daughters is painting the skyline behind it. It's kind of hard to see right now, but there's actually very faint clouds in the sky, kind of like you would see in the desert. It's pretty awesome looking. The other 2 halves, you don't even know what's going on over there. This, kind of like a Moab-ish desert flow here going on over there. Something completely different over there. Something else completely different. So, we will show that eventually, just not yet. We got this thing over here, which was a prototype for something else I'm making. Some of you guys might be interested in these. Some of you might already have something kind of like this. These would, go on something like this. So this is your kind of like a class 3 style or a super comp crawler. As you can tell, there's not one wheel on this side. So here's your standard. These are a set of UPWs. These are running an orange UPW ring. This would be the alternative to that. this is like your super comp tire right here. You can kind of see the difference on there. We will have some super comp tires, or wheels rather, very soon. Here's what it looks like kind of with a body on it. Let's see if we can smash that on there somehow. There we go. So you can kind of see the difference, what a super comp wheel and tire looks like versus a standard wheel and tire, 1.0 versus a 1.8, I believe. I can't remember off the top of my head. I believe it's 1.8. That is the same tire, different wheel. You do have to chop the tire to make them fit in here. These are smash fit or crush locks, people call them. A little different. But I will have, I don't know, several different designs of these in stock fairly soon, out of carbon fiber to start with. Probably do aluminum later on. But to start with carbon fiber, these do use my standard, what are they called? MF6 hubs. So you can go from a 0 millimeter hub, which gives you that much offset, or you can get the +3, which will bring it out to like there, or a +6, that'll bring it out to like there, without having to change anything else but the hub. So there's that. That's kind of cool. Probably be available 2 to 4 weeks, probably ish. Put the nut on or it falls off. And hell, maybe I'll stick one of these in this guy. Right off in there. Now, I actually have tried that. And you do have to get like a little Dremel and just Dremel off a smidge of your aluminum frame rail if you're running the aluminum ones. But good luck for you and me. I've already have some carbon fiber chassis being produced right now that are cut out long enough for this exact motor and mount that will fit right off in there. You don't have to change anything else, I think. Hopefully. We'll find out very soon once I get the rest of my stuff in. Just waiting now. Currently just waiting. Waiting for things to show up. What else we got up here? That looks like about all that I brought over here. Yep, that's pretty much it. This one is running what would be considered the stretch kit on it, which I don't have in stock yet. But he probably eventually will have in stock. The stretch kit lengthens the wheelbase of this one out, I think about a 1/2 inch, 13-ish millimeters longer than the stock AX24 it would normally be. So you can kind of see what that looks like stretched out and with one wheel falling off. Sort of kind of like that. Makes it a lot less floppy as well. Just stretching it out like that. Oh, man. So I am, let's see here. Going to probably call that a night at 54 minutes. I know, it's super lame, and I didn't even read all these awesome comments. Oh, you know what? I was going to talk about Dinky. If Dinky's still here, I don't know if he's still here. Dinky RC, if you're still here, let me talk about that first, then we'll burn out. So I've talked to Dinky RC in the last, I don't know, month or so. I've been getting a lot of emails asking very strange questions, like questions you don't normally get asked about brushless motors for specs and things. And eventually, Dinky RC contacted me and asked me about some of my motors. And me and him may or may not, we'll see what happens, go in on a couple things. He's we're going to try to make some, I don't know. He makes an ESC right now for these. That is a 32-bit ESC that, unlike me, doesn't require lubrication. He makes a 32-bit ESC that will silently control these motors. And hopefully not have some of the issues we've had to deal with Furetex in the past. Some of the issues with the Furetex, don't get me wrong, Furetex are great ESCs, but tuning them can be kind of a pain sometimes. And so, like, I don't know, 20-30% of the emails that I receive each day are people asking about why a motor does this or that after putting a Furetech on it. And my first answer to each of those questions is go into the Furecar app, change the firmware to any other version of the firmware that's offered, and then do a factory reset through the app and try it again. And that fixes 99% of the firmware issues that happen to pop up on these Furetech ESCs. But sometimes there are other issues with them. And there's honestly, I think, user error in part, a lot of that, because there's so many damn settings on these things people like to mess with. And you can jack one up pretty easily and never get it to go back to normal without doing a factory reset. So Dinky RC has been working on and selling some ESCs, and it seems like they're quite successful so far, that are 32-bit and running his own tunes on them. And he's been custom tuning them for these motors. So what we'll probably try to do is set up something with us both to where I can get a certain amount of ESCs that he's made specifically for these motors, you know, like the Mini BAM, the ROP, the SMP, the BAM motor, you know, already preset for them. All you have to do is install it, plug and play, and go. So we will be working on that here in the near future, very near future, trying to get something done there and see what happens. So pretty excited about that as well. Stay tuned for that. And what else could I talk about? Not much, really. I got a ton of stuff showing up very soon. Just waiting for manufacturing to finish. Lots of cool new things coming. I don't even know. I also have some new tools coming that I'm pretty excited about. Hopefully you guys will be excited about them too. This is a 4.0 box for your SCX24 wheel nuts. I also have a 4.5 and a 5.0 coming that are machined extremely thin wall. So you can get down into some of the deeper hub styles that I offer. This one does not have a super deep hub on it. But if you were running the +6 hub, you have to stick the tool way down inside the hub to tighten the nut. And if you're running something with a 4.5 or a 5mm hex nut, wheel nut, it can be quite hard to get something like this down inside there to fit. These just don't go that far in and they don't work very well. So I do have some of these tools in stock. I'll try to get them on the website this week as well, in both the 4.5 and the 5.0 box. Nut wrench, I guess you'd call it. I'll try to get those on there as well this week. Oh man, what else do I have that I need to get on there? I had a list somewhere earlier in here. I've got a lot of stuff that's come in already that I don't have on the website, and I've got a whole lot more coming very soon that I don't have on the website. And I will try my damnedest to get it all on there so you guys can start buying it and I can start making more cool stuff to sell you guys. We'll just have to see what happens. But for now, we do have a couple new things as we spoke about today. This little guy here spinning in circles, going nowhere. Just spinning in circles and going nowhere. We got that. And we got the Nano Mount, which is backdatable if you already have a Nano Beast. With an 11-tooth pinion gear on it, you can use the new mount. And I believe the Micro Komodos, I believe they fit, although I have not actually tried sticking one on here. So if somebody wants to buy one and stick it on there and let me know, that would be great. Otherwise, maybe I'll have to buy one of the Micro Komodos and try it myself. But I'm pretty sure this is 9mm. I'm pretty sure they just pretty much copied my motor and made their own motor and probably sold 10 times more than I did. But for the most part, it probably fits. And like I said, you can't even really tell. When this comes out of FOC, there's not like a transition, which is pretty awesome. And that's me being kind of heavy figured because I don't have a whole lot of room here on this tiny bench. If I had more room, I could show you the full range of motion. But I don't. So buy one and figure it out yourself. Just kidding. Where am I? Alrighty then. I'm not even going to attempt to try to read all these millions of comments that I missed. I love you guys, but I'm not going to do it. Not gonna do it. What I am gonna do is probably go ahead and get off before I show you guys something that I shouldn't show you yet because it's not quite ready for the world to see yet. So let me just go ahead and get off now before I show something I shouldn't show. Gotta go. Love you guys. Maybe in the future I'll show you what that was. Some of you probably hit pause and already saw it, or who knows. But we got more exciting stuff. I'll tell you what I will do. Here's what I will do real quick for those of you who haven't burned off yet. So I'm pretty sure you probably knew already kind of sort of what I was showing you. Now I just got to figure out where the remote went for this thing. Okay, where's my remote? Problem with having so much junk laying around, you can't find anything. There it is. Did you hear the 4 beeps? I heard 4 beeps. This has no drag brake, so it kind of slowly rolls to a stop. I didn't turn the drag brake on yet. That's all you get. Sorry, that's it. That's all you get. Now I'm getting the hell out of here after I do a burnout. I ruined a bunch of shit. All right, now I'm getting out of here. All right, we'll talk more about that in the future. Got to go. Happy Monday to everybody. Glad you could all join me. And this will probably also be the install video for the Nano Mount. I'm just calling it the Nano Mount because it fits all the Nano motors. It used to be called the Nano Beast Mount. Nano Beast Standard Mount is what it used to be called. And now it's made out of aluminum, and it's just called the Nano Mount because there's more than one Nano motor that I have now available. The Nano Beast motor and the Nano BAM motor. Be prepared to buy one of these things as soon as they go on the site. I did not get a chance to order that many of them because I just ain't got no stinking money. It's tax season. While everybody else is collecting returns, I'm paying out loads of money. So I'm just kidding. It wasn't that much. But anyways, thanks for watching. Appreciate all of you guys. Have a good rest of the week. And hey, look, there's the rest of my face. So you know I'm not only half of a head. Thanks for watching. Enjoyed all of you guys hanging out. Hasta la, bye-bye.